So this is Feministiskt Perspektiv reporting from New York and the Women's Commission. I'm here with Joy Ogbonnaya, who is from Nigeria. Can you tell me a bit about your work and why you are here?
Okay, thank you very much. My name, like Jenny said, is Joy Ogbonnaya. I'm an attorney in Nigeria, and I run a non-governmental non-profit in Nigeria, which is actually faith-based, known as the Pleasant Gathering. The Pleasant Gathering is a faith-based non-governmental organization that is into empowering the next generation and also empowering the women and the girl child. And we run like 6 projects. We run the Pleasant Gathering Reading Club in secondary schools that moves us around the Enugu State secondary schools where I live, which is southeast Nigeria, and we go to different secondary schools to mentor and to train and to enhance the reading habits of the Nigerian students and also their moral culture. Somehow we have like over 52 secondary schools. We are running the Pleasant Gathering Reading Club, but the mandate by the Ministry of Education is to go around to all the secondary schools in Enugu State, and we have over 1,000 secondary schools in Enugu State, and we are just started with just like 52, just because of lack of funding. But we know that over time we'll be able to get there. We also run what we call the Pleasant Gathering Free Medical Care in rural communities. This gives us the opportunity to empower the rural women and to ensure that their health is secured. Because before you talk about empowering the rural women, which is actually why we are here, empowerment of the rural women and the girl child, you need to empower their health first, because without health, there will be no form of or any type of empowerment of any sort. Health first.
And what can you tell me about the situation of the women and girl child in your community?
Yes, that's actually where I'm heading to. The condition has to do with so many of them are into social vices because of the poverty issues we are having, and there are a whole lot of problem and a whole lot of social problem, political problem, and other kind of problems we are having in Nigeria, and this makes the girl child to become victims of social vices like prostitution, rape, sexual manipulations, and the rest of them. And that's why actually the Pleasant Gathering came on board, because we reach out to these girls who are into prostitution. We go at night wherever they are standing within the Enugu State where I live, and sometimes we are there from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. in the night, standing with them, trying to share the word of God with them and trying to bring them back to normal societal life. We have had some of them we are rehabilitating, they're under our rehabilitation, and they have been really into a lot. And we know that some of these nights we are out there, with all the risk involved, people are actually sleeping. The government is also sleeping. Members of the churches may also be sleeping. Families that have abandoned them may also be sleeping. But we know that is also a risk. But we believe that the much we can give to our generation is in the now. And if we got the solution to that, we must be where they are. And that's where we have to do this. And we have noticed that some of them now, they are out of that. And if they share their experiences with you, it's quite amazing. Like one of the girls, we have their documentaries. They were sleeping like with 15 men in a day just to make like $25, which is actually in Nigerian money, 15,000 naira. And we picked her from the street and we had to rehabilitate her, send her back to school, and we had to also ensure that she learned some skills like making of hair in order to come back to normal lifestyle. She has been in our rehabilitation. We have widows we met in the prostitution joints, where they were doing their normal business and trying to feed their children. We also have their documentaries, and which is part of why we are in the UN. We have had our parallel event where we showcased some of these cases we are handling, and the government is not aware of, because we don't have funding coming from any part of the world as I'm talking to you now. But we are just like trusting the Lord that one of these days we'll be able to get the proper audience to listen to us and to catch the passion which we are using to run along to catch across these ones. Because we know that when we actually empower a woman, you have empowered a generation. When you empower the girl child, you have empowered thousands and thousands of generations, and you have secured their future.
And the fact that you're a faith-based organization, does this mean that the girls that you help need to share your beliefs?
No, what we actually do, because you don't go there and then you say, okay, you are from this church, you are from the other church. We don't do that, because if we do that, we'll not be able to have the kind of audience we've been able to have. Like in some of our meetings, we have like 4,000 to 5,000 students coming from different religions, coming from different backgrounds, and the rest of them. So because if you come and you say, is this church or the other church, you are trying to limit the number, the level of impact you would have made when those walls are not there. So we try to break the barriers.
And how has the response been here in the UN for your seminar and the people you have met?
Okay, we just had we had our parallel event on Tuesday, and the timing was about 6:15. So some, because of the code, we are already going, and it wasn't really a favorable time. But we had a few people who were able to be there to listen to us. And we've been trying also to exchange business cards and the rest of them. We're just trusting that something good will come out of it all, including meeting you has been part of the adventure in this conference.
Okay, so is this the first time that you are being interviewed, and you're
this is actually the first time I have been interviewed here, and I have not run like it. There has no television interview right there in Nigeria. There is little publicity because we don't have the funding. We were running a program. Let me give you an instance. We ran a program at the Nnamdi Azikiwe, where they call the Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium in Nigeria, in Enugu State, where I live, and that was on the 21st of October last year, and we had 4,000 to 4,500 students. We fuel the buses that went to bring these students from the different secondary schools, including their principals and whatever. And somebody walked into, a well-known person walked into the event, and he was like, Joy, this number of students is quite amazing. This is quite massive. Is the Nigerian Television Authority, are they here? Where are the media people? I said, we could not afford the amount they were asking us to bring in order for our activities to be showcased. Rather, we decided to use the little we have within us to invest in the program to ensure that it's a success. And so he was like, this is what the world should see this, that this is not a one-man business. But we don't have it. The one that comes in from private pockets, you use it to ensure that these women whom you are picking, the girls whom you are picking from the streets, are settled. And the other ones that comes in, you ensure that these children, when you pick them, because by reaching out to these students at a very tender age, we are trying also to stop the mistake they will make tomorrow. If you reach out to them today, you stop their irreversible mistakes of tomorrow. And so we try to use whatever the little we have to invest into this. And I remembered I told them during the parallel event, the people who were there, I said that in the Bible, God said to Moses, Moses was complaining, and God said to him, what do you have in your hands? And he said, the rod. He said, come on, use the rod. If it is the rod you have, use it. And Moses used the rod, and it worked. And so what we are actually doing is, what do we have in our hands? We don't have a rehabilitation center, but we have an office. And so when we bring them from the streets and they are like, where are we going to stay, this and that, we keep them in our office. And so we don't have the media capacity, and we are very, very grateful, to God, and we are also very grateful to you, and I'm sure that it was divinity that made us to meet, because we weren't planning to meet. There was no meeting, no appointment scheduled. I was just passing, and lo and behold, I met you, and that was it. And that's how we are planning, and we have come on air like this. So right there in Nigeria, there is no media whatever going on. Even though we have a website, we are also on social media. We have an Instagram account, we have a Facebook account, and the rest.
And what do you think will be required because you work with both prevention and support, what do you think will be necessary for the situation to change, and what do you expect from the international community and from the government of Nigeria to see to the needs of the people that you are now out in the night to help them?
Yes. What my advice to the government of Nigeria: people may be investing, government may be investing, but they may invest inappropriately. You may invest in the wrong place. So it is always good to look for the actual people who are in the field doing the work, and you try to invest in such organizations who are in the field. Anybody can come out to the media and tell you, I do this, I do that, I do the other one. We are not into that. We believe in delivery. We believe in the services. And it is the passion that has taken us out to where they are. And I want to also let the international community know that we need help, we need funding for us to actually do the work. We need proper networking in order for us to deliver. I'm sure that when we have the proper networking and when we have the proper funding, we'll be able to do much more than we are doing now. And our services can then be extended to other parts of Nigeria, not just within the southeast or just within the state where I live. So we need help, we need people to come to our aid, and the media community also to help us to circulate this good news. Anything that is good, what the world ought to hear about that. And so we need funding, we need help. As we are here, there is no organization that sponsored me to come here. I sponsored myself. But it's not meant to be like that. Considering that there is no profit coming in. So I think it's always good for people who are out there to have the same passion that we have, and let's join our hands together to impact our world and to bring a positive influence.
I think this is a reality for many of the non-governmental groups and the organizations coming here. What will you bring back? When are you going back to Nigeria, and what will you bring with you?
One of the good news is that I met Jenny all the way from Sweden. I'm going to go back on the 28th of this month, back to Nigeria, and to continue to do the good work. Right there, they are already, they will be looking forward to, they call me mommy. The ones we pick from the street, the children and everybody, will be looking forward to mommy, Barrister Mrs. Joy Ogbonnaya coming back from this trip, and they are also hoping and also praying that this trip will be fruitful, because once it's fruitful, they know they will actually gain, and they too, they will be able to influence the coming generation.
So,
because this is like a legacy. Yes,
I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, Jenny,
for this interview. Thank you.
I appreciate you. Thank you.